Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. We're back again Saturday night, having a lot of fun. We were discussing some things before we got started or whatever. So, I've been doing all kinds of things this week: 3D printing, CNC laser, you name it. I've really had it in the file. Oh, and by the way, I got a guest tonight.
You got a guest? What do you got? Oh my goodness! It's a Spyro! I know who made that.
Yep. So I've got him sitting up there. Let me move him back a little bit right there. Okay. So anyway, but been doing a lot of stuff. So we didn't have a guest tonight. So I was saying, Al, if you're not careful, I'm going to have to use the phaser on you.
I got to get mine.
Yep. So anyway, we were discussing what we've been doing, but yeah, we didn't have a guest. It's just panel talk. Brenda's still not feeling good, from my understanding. She had a little mishap this week, so bless her heart. I hope and pray that she'll be better and be able to come back, because we miss her. We definitely do miss her. So, yeah,
she said
she hasn't formally posted. Yeah, she hasn't formally posted other than kind of like private message people about what's going on. So I'll let everybody know. I don't want to say anything. But anyway, thank you for you all being out there already. Brian Warner is over on Facebook. And yes, we are monitoring all three chats. If I can find my mouse and get it up here on this other monitor.
Steve Good's
we're
out there.
monitoring all three chats at one time. Lynn's Handcrafted Wood Signs, Aussie Man's out there, and
Bill.
Look at Russ when he was the last time he showed off us. Yes, I haven't done a scroll saw project in, I'm going to say, a year.
I got your back tonight, Russ.
Yeah, well, when I say now, I use my scroll saw all the time, but I just haven't used it for a scroll saw project. For instance, some of these signs that you see which I'll show this one off, that have the scalloped edges on them, on the ends. I do that on the scroll saw because it takes less time than it does for the the laser, or it does. So I just do that. Now the laser will cut it if it's 1/4 inch or up to 3/8, but I usually just scallop them on the scroll saw. So, and there's times the other day I needed a hole that was like 2 5/16 or something in a board, and I didn't have a bit that was 2 5/16, so I drew a round circle, bored a hole, put it on my scroll saw, and cut the circle. So I do that. I use the scroll saw in my shop as much as a lot of people use their table saw or other saws. It's just I don't do a scroll saw project. It's very, very handy. It comes in handy a lot. So, but anyway, that's what Aussie Man said. And yes, I do use it. I just haven't done a project in a long time. Rick St. Louis is out there. Donna's Wood Art. Just going through a few real quick.
Steve Good's out there.
Steve Good to hear you or see you or whatever. No, so you see that you're posting, Steve. Dan Inge, you can join us if you want, Steve. We're not doing anything special tonight, just sitting around kind of shop talk. So let me know in the chat and I'll send you a link over on Facebook like we normally do if you want to join. Just let me know. James Parker's out there. Anyway, those people are out there. Carl Gentry. Thank you for being out there, Carl, and the rest of you also. So anyway, Jerry Brown's out there.
Steve Good said sure.
Steve
Okay.
said sure.
All right. We'll go over there. Y'all, I tell you what, go over ahead. Dixon, tell us where we can find you.
Hello, I'm Dixon Hoffman. You can find me at Hoffman Signs and Decals and here on Saturday night.
Chris, I believe you're next.
Yep. Again, Chris here from the Old Cranky Workshop. Find me on Facebook and YouTube. Got a video in the works. Just finished the project, but I got to change the project. Something didn't work right. But other than that, you'll find me here. And you won't find me here next week. I'll be in St. Pete for a music festival. But remember, more importantly, it's 19 days and counting till St. Patrick's Day. So get your shopping done. I take a size 12 pack. Keep that in mind.
I was going to call you and see if y'all want earlier this week and see if you wanted to meet up tomorrow, but I won't have enough time. My wife's niece is getting married in Bradenton, and we're going to go down to Bradenton Sunday and probably stay the night Sunday and come back Monday. But I mean, we're going to be so busy involved in that I was thinking like, well, I'll meet Chris. And I was thinking, you know, my wife will kick my butt if I disappear for a couple hours.
Yeah, on a wedding trip, that's not a good move.
Yeah, so I don't think it's good. But anyway, so
figure it out eventually.
Go ahead, Donald. Tell us where we can find you.
I'm Donald Matthews from Donald Vlogs 5 Wood Shop. And I got a website, rednecknowhow.com. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where you can find the links to it there at Donald Vlogs 5 Wood Shop.
Paul
Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and live from Michigan. It's Saturday night.
Pretty cool. Yeah, live from Michigan. It's Saturday night. Hope they don't give us a copyright strike for you saying that. Jim.
Jim Bashir's on Driveway Workshop, and I got my 3D printer fixed.
Cool.
Plus, something everybody's complaining about in the chat, I got my scroll saw out. And
oh, yes.
I've been cutting this thick, hard maple. Funny story, because some of you guys
Hold
know
them back
I have.
Up there. I want to see this. I want to see the proof.
I haven't sanded them yet, but some of you guys know when my dad died, I got my dad's shop, and when my brother-in-law died, I got my brother-in-law's shop, and when my father-in-law died, I got my father-in-law's shop. Out of all of those people, there's not one of them that had a scroll saw bit that didn't have 5 billion teeth per inch on it. So I actually had to go buy scroll saw blades to cut this stuff out with. I couldn't believe it. I'm opening up all these little tubes with scroll saw blades, and I'll tell you though, I really miss it. I had a lot of fun trying to relearn how to use my scroll saw. So I'm going to be using it a lot
like I said,
more.
I use mine, so I haven't forgotten how to use it. I just haven't done any projects. I use it for other stuff. But you know, you're lucky. I mean, I say you're lucky. That's not a correct phrase. Let me rephrase that. You get stuff from people after they pass away. I get nothing because everybody in my family is already gone.
Yeah, well, you're the youngest one. You know, that's what happens.
Yeah. Well, my brother. I haven't mentioned this, but the week that I missed the show a couple of weeks ago is my brother Richard had passed away. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and you have to realize, I told y'all I was the baby. I was born. My father was born in like 1896, I believe it was, or whatever. I'm getting to the age that he was when I was born. Anyway, my brother Richard was 86 years old. I'm 64. Wow. That tells you the gap. You know, that tells you the gap. So in other words, do the math on that. 64, 74, 84, 20. He was 22 years old when I was born. So yeah, that tells you the gap. My closest brother is Kenny. He's still alive. Me and Kenny are the last two Mohegans, so to speak, of all of our family. Well, we have some nieces and nephews that are still alive and kicking, but we're the last two as far as the brothers and sisters of the family. Out of 7 of us, we're the last two. and Kenny is 10 years older than me. So I'm 64. He's 74. So
I don't
but
know,
anyway.
man. I'm like, here's to your dad. 60 something. And he has a kid.
Yeah.
Really?
There was 9 of us. I forgot to tell you that there's 7 of us alive. There was 9 of us to begin with. There was 2 twins, but they were like born after they died 3 days after they were born. So they're buried in North Lakeland out there with my brother and a couple of my sisters. But yeah, there was 9 of us total, but 7 of us survived. The twins died after 2 or 3 days of being born. But anyway, so that's enough of that. But yeah, Richard it wasn't surprising. He hadn't been doing good for a little while. And I think the biggest, hardest part was that during that period of time, and I haven't said this either, but both of me and my wife had COVID for the second time. And we were fine. We only had my son was sick, and I went over and took care of him. And about 3 or 4 days later, I got sick, and a couple of days later, Nancy got sick. But this one wasn't really that big of a deal. It was more like a cold. We just had a head cold. I'd never run a fever or anything. I was only sick for 2 or 3 days. Now the symptoms of the sinus and the cough lasted for a week. But the problem was we kept going back. It took us 3 weeks to test negative. 3 weeks. So during this time that he went into hospice in Atlanta, I couldn't go see him because we were still testing positive. So I didn't get to go see him. He was in hospice for 2 or 3 days. I didn't get to go see him. So I think that was the hardest part right there that really bothered me. But
yeah.
But anyway, but it is what it is. We couldn't go. There's nothing we could do about it. So I think Al, we hadn't let you go. Go ahead, Al. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, my name is Al Forte. I can be found all over Kilroy 79763. I do a stream. Been doing 3D printing. I'll probably do a little scroll sawing too. I've got a compound chess set that I've already cut some pieces, but I've been getting a hankering lately to go back and recut them and spend some time out there. It's still too cold for me. But yeah, it is cold in Texas right now. But anyway,
yeah. Sorry to hear that, man.
Just search. Yeah, right.
84 degrees here today.
79763 all over the place. And hey, Steve, do you have a big old mirror in front of you right there that you can see? That you can see the screen behind you? Because that sure is a waste of. Is that a game? Is that somebody playing a game back there, or is that the TV?
No, it's my TV. No, it's my TV.
Yeah. So, man, I'd put a mirror in front of you, and then you can just sit there and work on stuff and watch TV as you're working on it. But anyway, great to have you here.
Oh, it's good to be back.
And last but not least, Steve Good. How you doing?
Hey, Russ. Thanks for letting me stop by tonight. Sorry to hear about your brother.
Yeah, like I said, he hadn't been doing good for a few weeks prior to that. He had fallen like a month or so before, and that set him back and everything. So it was kind of like the handwriting was on the wall. I mean, we kind of knew, but like I said, that really upset is the part is that, when you're testing positive, there's nothing you can do. So
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat you were. I lost my 2 older brothers. My oldest brother would be 90 or 91 today, or next month or something like that. Then I have a brother who just turned 50. So we got a pretty wide range too.
Yeah.
But my dad was, I don't think he was as old as your dad. My dad was in his mid 50s when I was born. So
yeah.
He would be over 100 now. So yeah, well over 100, 110. So kind of in the same boat. I still have a younger brother and a younger sister. They're both still kicking around, and I'm still kicking, but I lost my 2. I hadn't seen my oldest brother when he passed in about 40 years.
Wow.
We lost contact through all those years after my dad died. We're all step brothers and sisters. None of us all have the same. We all have the same mom, different dads.
Right.
Or except for my oldest one. So kind of in the same boat here. Anyway, I'm Steve Good. You can find me at Scroll Saw Workshop. And just appreciate being back and seeing everybody.
No problem. We're missing Brenda. She hasn't been doing good lately. she's having some health issues and different things going on, plus her house, bless her heart. But we're hoping to get her back here real soon. But before I go any further, let me talk about my wonderful sponsors, because I hadn't done that yet, and they are Devobal Technologies for web design, development, hosting. Visit devobal.com. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice for hard-to-find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Klingspor, the sanding specialist, woodworkingshop.com, and Scroll Saw, Seiko, the Scroll Saw specialist, Seiko.com. And
18 seconds.
Oh, so one less than last time, right?
Yep.
yeah. Don't forget, I like subscribers. So if you want to subscribe, that'll be great. I appreciate it. If you hit that little bell up in the top, it'll tell you anytime I post a video or we go live. And also, thumbs up are appreciated. Don't forget to do some thumbs up. So there, I covered it all.
There's a lot of YouTubers who would probably buy those from you, Russ.
Do what?
There's a lot of YouTubers that would probably buy those from you.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really easy to make. Do I divulge? No, I'm not going to divulge the secret because y'all make.
No, you better not.
No, they're not. All I did was that's a piece of 1/4-inch Baltic birch, and actually the little stick is a 1/4-inch Baltic birch. I printed this on some real thick matty paper on the printer, and I glued it to the board, and then I shot it with a coat of lacquer.
And they're very difficult to make, but Russell can give you a good price on them.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So
And the combo folks, if you buy both, you get a discount. But wait, there's more.
They're really easy to make. So they're not that hard. But yeah, tonight's just shop talk.
Pitch, Russell.
Do what?
You're not good on a sales pitch. You keep saying they're really easy to make.
I don't know how. I mean, I sell stuff all the time. Y'all just don't see that. I have a group of people
All right,
that I
we want to see the
email.
bank account right now.
Huh?
We want to see the bank account right now. We all don't see it. Well,
Hey, the IRS don't even see my bank account, and you think you're going to see it?
Is it in the Caymans?
It's called cash.
Yep.
And you don't deposit it.
But don't say it because it's recorded and you're incriminating yourself. Ideal meal.
I didn't say that I had cash. I said it's called cash.
Snippet.
You realize I'm still considered a federal agent, right?
Yeah.
Just so you
Yes,
know.
but what did I say that was wrong? I said it's cash. It's called cash.
And it was a law enforcement agency I was part of.
Russ, be careful because this is the ultimate
I
YouTube
have a
strike.
bag full of
Agent of what?
I never said that I stole my stuff. Did you hear me say that?
la 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 la.
You just need to go back and replay the tape, then you'll understand what was said.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, yeah, I have people that I reach out to when I make, especially the religious stuff like this, for instance. I have a lot
Father
of people that
Guido
are interested in
Sarducci is who he goes to.
this. Since I already got it held up, I'll go ahead and show these two. Now, this one was done on the laser. So, and this is a 1/4-inch MDF that I make on my own. I take the 3/4 inch and cut it in half and then run it through the, actually the bandsaw does such a great job. Now this one is sanded on the back, but this was actually CNC. My new CNC did this, and that's actually right off the bandsaw. So,
What CNC did you get, Russ?
I went with the digital wood carver.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, you really, unless you see this one, for instance, here, this one. That one's got some depth. You can see through the letters. Where this one has no depth. It's just engraved. I decided, Steve, I had looked at them and everything, and I know Laney, and he's there. And I have to admit, I had some problems with my CNC right off the bat within the first few days of owning it. But one of the reasons I went with Digital Wood Carver was they are good machines, I feel, is their customer service. I mean, I had a little problem because I'm not used to the software when I first set it up, trying to get used to that. And he's uses what they call Team Viewer, and he gets right on your computer. And he was, oh, this needs to be set this way, and this needs to be set. I mean, he went through it and changed a few settings.
Laney's good.
Yes, and changed a few settings, and it worked. Well, I got it to work to do about 2 or 3 projects. Then on the fourth project, it really messed up. And so I was like, what? And so I tried to redo the project, and it was messing up again. But that time I was wise enough to have my finger on the emergency stop and stopped it. So I called him, or I didn't call him. I PM'd him on Facebook, and I said, hey, I'm having problems. I can't figure this out. And I took a little short video. What it was doing was I could move, let's say, the x-axis, and the machine would be moving, and it would stop. But on the computer screen, it was showing that it was still moving. So when I was setting like the Z height, for instance, and I was moving it, it would stop, but the computer would still say that it was moving. So the Z axis height would be off.
So did you have to calibrate the steppers? Is that what you did?
No, I'll get into that in just a second. So I took a video of it and showed him that it was stopping, but it was, and he immediately PM'd me back, and he goes, hey, are you available? I mean, I'm talking about within 15 minutes, he PM'd me and said, I saw that. He goes, are you available? And I said, yeah. He says, get on your computer and we'll do Team View. So I went straight to the shop, went on Team View, and he looked at it and everything. And we determined that it was, they thought there was something loose underneath in shipment, a wire or whatever. So he says, the only thing I can tell you to do is, he said, it's rugged, Russ. You're not going to hurt it. He said, flip it up on its side. And he said, so you can see the control board and everything that's underneath. And he says, search for a loose wire or whatever. And, there's a control board, the fan, the power supply with a fan. And he says, you'll see all the stuff. And he says, search and see if there's any loose wires. We feel that there's, he talked to the boss, and he said, they feel that there was something loose that was causing that. So I did. I flipped it up on its side. And immediately after I turned it on, I sit there for a few seconds. This little fan right here, don't you just love it when there's plastic bags that won't stay zipped the time you want to open it, won't come unzipped? This little blower fan right here blows across the control board. Here, let me turn it around. Here. So it blows across the control board. Well, this fan wasn't working. So what was doing was this control board was getting hot and wigging out. So I immediately took some pictures and called him, and I said, hey, I think I figured out the problem. He said, what's that? And he goes, I said, that little black fan, isn't it supposed to move? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, it's not moving. So he goes, So this was on a late Friday afternoon, which we're talking about 7 o'clock at night. And so he said, let me get a hold of my boss first thing in the morning, and I'll tell him, and we'll come up with a game plan. I'll let you know what to do. And I said, well, I don't expect to hear from y'all till Monday. I said, but let me know first thing Monday morning what they're going to do. And sure enough, first thing Monday morning, he called me and said, yep, they're sending you a brand new control board and a brand new fan to put in the machine. He says, do you think you can do it? And the thing about it was, during that same time when I talked about it, was we had COVID. So we were testing positive. There was no way he could come down here to fix it. So I basically told him, I said, we're testing positive for COVID. So I said, yeah, send it to me. I said, I'm pretty good with electronics. I shouldn't have, if it's not that complicated, I shouldn't have that much trouble.
Well, he's not very dedicated if he wouldn't come, even though you had COVID. Dedication somewhere.
It wasn't that hard. These 4 at the bottom are the X, Y, and Z axis.
Yeah.
One of these up top goes to a control board, which turns the router on and off. I don't remember which exact one, but Two things I did was I took some very good pictures, and so that I could remember where everything was. And then I simply numbered each one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so the wires, I put a little, took my magic marker and put a little piece of tape on them, and I numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I knew exactly where every wire went.
I
So,
think
and
magic
then
marker voids the warranty.
yeah.
Were you sure were supposed to do that?
And then all these were in the same sequence. They were like red, blue, black, yellow, or whatever. They're all four of them the same sequence for the motor. So once you knew what one was, you knew what the other were. So it wasn't. I had this thing out, the fan and this out and back in about 45 minutes.
Hey, get this story. Same control board went out on one of my CO2 lasers the other day. Now, keep in mind, I've only had this laser 3 years, right? Just put a brand new laser, 40-watt tube in it. Control board died. Guess what they don't have? And
Control
aren't going
board.
to get. Yeah, full spectrum.
I would not doubt that a bit.
Right.
Tipped me off to no end. I mean, luckily I've got backups, but still, it's only it was 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're gonna have to convert it to an Arduino, and then you're set again.
Yep.
I
If you
bet
didn't have a
Arduino
backup.
can't get chips too.
But they're saying that they can't get them. In other words,
No, it's not that they can't get them. They discontinued it.
oh wow.
So I've
Could you
been trying to
repair that board? Is it possible to
I'm
repair
trying to
it?
get a third-party source for the board, but apparently they had it made in China, so they're not available. So what I can do is I can upgrade the machine to a Rudia controller. It's
do
a lot
that.
of work.
You could do
It's a
that.
lot of work, but
Yeah.
that's better anyway because then I can use Lightburn.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
like you,
Exactly,
so.
man. Then if you use Lightburn with your laser, you wouldn't believe the stuff you can do with
Oh
it.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that guy that writes
like
that
night and day.
Lightburn software he's good.
Yes.
It-
And you know what?
If you look at that software, it's better than any of the big commercial software packages out there.
Well, and you know
Really?
what I find amazing? As much as Corel I've spent on Corel Draw over the years, and as the what you would say the high professional writers for Corel Draw, the trace in Corel Draw sucks compared to Lightburn.
Yeah.
It's surprising, isn't it?
Lightburn,
Yes,
you
I
don't need
can-
to have a separate CAD program. You can design your stuff right there.
Yeah. Well, I'm so used to Corel Draw that I can go in and make an SVC or SVG, I mean, for that Lightburn will take in just a few minutes compared to now. If I sit down and started playing with Lightburn, yes, I'm going to be able to learn it. But my point is, I'm so used to Corel Draw, I just create it there, export it. But when you're talking about images, you might as well just download the image into Lightburn and have it trace it. Because I've compared the two traces, and Lightburn kicks Corel Draw.
Yeah.
But
It's fast too. It's
You
Yeah.
can put a
very
picture.
fast.
You can put a picture underneath the laser on Lightburn, and just have it look at it and
Yeah.
cut it.
Yeah, you
It's
set up a
fantastic.
camera. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
camera
VCarve
you
Pro,
use, yeah.
VCarve Pro has an excellent auto tracer too. It depends what you get.
VCarve
VCarve Pro
yes,
has a
and
good
so
auto
does
tracer.
Aspire has a very good auto tracer.
Yeah,
That's what I use as Aspire, and it has.
but
a
the
very good
price
auto-
of the price of that Lightburn is that's where
this
it's
was
that's the
this
ticket.
was this is a photograph that I got off of the internet. Okay, and I took it into Lightburn and made a few things, a little changes with it. The line, this white line that goes around and circles around everything, that was all black. Well, when you look, I looked at it. I've done enough on the laser now over the year, a couple of years, but I knew that wasn't going to look very good. So I went in and created this interior white line around this big black area to give it a little bit of depth. I did all that. Then this is an image, and I turned Lightburn loose, and this is what come out. So yeah, Lightburn is fantastic. I love Lightburn.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now I have the Rudy controller, and I want to tell you, you'll love that. If you put
I
it on
already
your-
got one. I've got one on my other laser.
Oh
and-
yeah.
The Chinese laser I've got, it's got a Rudy control on it. And I just got another laser in the shop 2 days ago that a company sent to me to review. And it's one of those quote inexpensive diode lasers.
Uh-huh.
That thing is good. I'm
Yes.
shocked. It's a 10-watt diode. They use two 5-watt diode lasers like this to make a 10-watt laser. And the thing, it'll cut 1/8 inch with no. And I know 1/8 inch don't sound like a big deal if you got an 80 watt or whatever, but
Right.
it's pretty impressive.
Is that
Yeah.
is that I wasn't listening? Is that a Niji? Is that the Niji laser?
No,
diode?
it's X Tool made by MakeBox.
Oh, okay. Niji has the same thing. They took two lasers, which is a
Yep.
good idea, and put them together. And for a diode laser to be able to cut anything is a good deal.
I was surprised. Well, first of all, I wanted to do the review on it, which that was cool. But I also needed a backup since my other one died. And I didn't think this diode would be able to do those signature. I've showed you this 1,000 times, but I do these little signature cards with the signature coins. And
Yes.
it just do them in 1/8 inch plywood. So, of course, with light burn in the 60-watt laser, I can do this in 10 minutes or whatever. It's not very
Sure.
long. The diode's a lot slower, but at least I got a backup.
You'll find out. I'm sure you already noticed, but for the people out in the chat that don't know this, they'll find out if you take a Niji laser and it has the two lasers, that is better for cutting because you will not get a crisp, clean thing like you will with a cheaper laser. I have a cheaper knockoff laser before they made all these companies came in that I put together about 10 years ago, and it's a weaker laser, but you get really good engravings with it. Where the double laser, a Niji or your laser, it's tougher to get a real fine, clean, because it's made cutting the way the laser is set up.
I've got an air assist device ordered for it, and that'll help quite a bit too. But it's impressive.
Yeah, air assist. Yeah, and let me tell you, crank up the air pressure. I learned. I put clamps on my air assist on my little. Now I started out with a little Ortour, which is and I want to tell you, when I bought it, I never intended on it cutting. I knew it was for engraving, but it can engrave fantastic.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that I did was like, it is fantastic. And I'll tell you another thing. I bought a rotary for it, and I have it set up to do my cups. I don't even let my big laser do the cups. That little Ortour will burn the paint off of those cups just as good as the big one will.
Yeah, this X Tool came with a little small rotary, but I haven't hooked it up yet.
Yeah.
Hey, Dixon, how do they collimate both laser beams to get
With
it down
mirrors.
to the material?
Yeah, with the mirror.
With the mirrors.
But there's no special lens or anything. They just mirror it both together. And
it's
throw
the
it down
mirrors. It's the inside the two lasers, the diodes, and then they just with mirrors. They mix them with mirrors.
Wow. Okay.
Some lasers have a round dot if you really get into it, and some have a tiny triangle, and that's where you're talking curves and stuff.
Okay.
But years ago, like 15 years ago, I 3D printed these air assist things that I stuck them on my lenses and I had my air compressor. Well, I found out I got rid of all of that because I didn't have to run my air compressors. I stuck them fans from your DC drives, and I just hot glued them. I 3D printed a bracket. And I hot glued them fans for air assist, and that's what I use for my air assist, and they work just as good.
Yeah.
So I got these fans glued right on my laser heads with a ring that I 3D printed, and then I wired it to the 12-volt supply that operates the other controls, and that fan goes on, and it works great for air assist.
And it's a lot quieter too.
Yeah, that was
Probably,
the thing. So I took two of those fans out of them DC drives that Jim, you're familiar with, because they're high speed, and I actually stuck them in that slot on them 40-watt lasers, and that helped tremendous suck the air out to the bigger fan.
Just like what they do on a 3D printer.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out in the chat. Brian Warner says he's over on Facebook. Glad to have you over there, Brian. And we're not ignoring everybody. We just got to run in our mouth. And
a lot of people out there too.
But he says he still hasn't got his CNC going, mainly because he's learning programs. He also hasn't set it up in its final home. Let's see.
I was keeping an eye on the chat, Russ. Don't
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Chips are all over, very short. Brian Warner says he has a 60 watts, about 5 years old. Rudy, he may be screwed also. Rudy is great. Even if it works well with drawing stuff for the CNC, you can save time in the format you want. Jerry Brown. Now, Jerry Brown uses a lot of pies, and he's saying find them is near impossible. All the 3D printer boards
Really?
are only bigger 32-bit boards. The entire world. Yes, I went on Amazon here a while. I'm talking about back last to the end of the year, and I was going to get a couple of them myself to start playing around with, figuring out how to program stuff. And they were like, I could buy them for like $15. Go look on Amazon right now. They're running for like $30 and $40.
Arduinos or pies?
Either one.
Arduinos are cheaper ones. But
Yeah.
Well, the pie, he's talking about pies, and they were like $15 or so last year, and now they're up to like 30 or 40.
Yeah, that's dirt cheap for a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. They came out with the new ones, and they're a little bit more.
But yeah, they're going. The price is going up, and they're getting harder and harder to find too.
But Steve, that's a really nice little computer, though.
Robin's Buys and DIYs is out there. Good to have you, Robin. I appreciate it. Jerry Brown's out there. Donna's Wood Art. Brian Orner says, try using Lightburn to prep your CNC project. He understands it's fantastic. I mean, Lightburn's good, but I'd rather have I've learned how to use Aspire, and
you could do that, but you got to write your Z code in there. If you're going to use Lightburn for CNC, it's going to be a pain in the butt because you got to write your Z codes in there. You got to put it in Notepad or whatever and Note++, and then say, hey, the Z code, replace this by this, to make the Z go up and down. Because that's how I'm cheating on my laser. I'm using the Z code on my Arduino board. I'm using the Z axis to run my laser, and that's what does the pulse width modulation.
But if you move it over to a CNC, is it the pre-processing stuff for the CNC that you got to edit, or the actual
G code? The G code, the Z's not going to be there.
But the G code for the Z axis, or the G code for the pre-processing stuff to set the
both?
Tell the CNC to go to 0.
It would have to be both because a laser doesn't. Yeah.
You know what I would do? You know what I would do is when you're doing it in. I'm not familiar with Lightburn. I use all laser Gerbil, but in Lightburn, I would put some code in there, like make one up, G42, just so it does the post processing. Then when you look at the G code, you can go into the editor and say, hey, there's one in there that makes no sense. That's a G52 or whatever, and say replace that, and then put your Z axis in there.
Okay, that's too complicated.
Yeah, it's not worth it. You might as well take your V carve and do it 10. You're going to do it twice as fast or 10 times faster.
Yeah.
It's too much hassle.
In Fusion, I had to change the post processor so it would give me my machine paths for the CNC. So it's
and then you got to have the right post processor. VCarve Pro has that whole list of CNCs. You got to use. I use Mach 3 or. You could take any software and make it work on your CNC, but you're going to be jumping through all kinds of hoops.
Yeah. No, I like Aspire. What's funny about it, I haven't run a CNC in so long since that orange piece of crap died on me that I'm having to learn how to use that Aspiro all over again. And it's like, geez. And then all my old files, I have to go through them because they have to be brought into the new Aspire. I started off with VCarve, then I went to Aspire. So all of them have to come up and be brought into Aspire. So you have to go through that. Oh, this is an older file. We're going to have to import it into Aspire or whatever. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I understand that. But anyway, I'm going to have to learn it all over. I did do something cool with this new because the other CNC used Mach 3. This one uses Planet CNC, so they're a different setup, so to speak, like you were talking. But anyway, so I did go in and make me a keyhole tool path that I can use on any size wood. So what I did was design it for like a piece that was like 1.5 inches by 2 inches. And then I made me a template 1.5 inches by 2 inches. So I just find the middle of the board, laid that template there, and make a mark or a round circle. I bring the CNC over, drop the keyhole 2-path to that mark on the board, hit play, and it just cuts me a keyhole and just boom, just like that. So that's
the
cool.
keyhole bit is really neat. Really,
Yeah, it
really
is. Now the problem of it being is it needs to go down at least 1/4 of an inch to make the keyhole 2-path work. That ain't gonna work on these.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work on this thin stuff. I showed y'all the control board, right?
Yep.
Yeah, for the CNC.
Go full screen on that, Russ, so I can see that.
I'm surprised.
Can you
Look
go
at
full
that.
screen on that?
Look
control
at that,
board?
Steve. I'm surprised they didn't. That's not really sophisticated. That's not many chips on there at all.
Yeah, just that
There's some
microprocessor
chips on there, but it's not as sophisticated as I thought. But then again, you're only running 3 axes, so they got 2 of the drivers for the Y and 1 for the X and 1 for the Z. It's just you have a double spindle on there. Or,
yeah, it's running all 4. It's 2 for like the
yes,
the X or whatever the Y. But
the Y.
yeah, but these are controllers also. Like I said, one of these goes to a control board that actually turns the router on and off. So when I hit start to do the project, this kicks on the router. It sends the signal to the control board that turns the router on. And then when it finishes, it turns the router off.
If you ever have issues with that new board, the first thing you want to look at, the first thing that's going to blow on that board is right where your finger is, one of those capacitors. Usually
one of those capacitors down here.
Yep. That's usually what
those
goes
electrolytics,
first.
they blow.
Yeah, it uses just a regular USB.
Printer port.
USB-B.
Port.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just wanted to show, and Al's the one that showed me this, and I downloaded the file for it. Oh, I might as well just. But I
think it came out great, Russ.
Thank you.
That looks cool.
This is hold on.
And she's not out there today.
Yeah, I noticed that. This is this guy. Just a smaller version.
So now
Hey,
you
Chris
get to pay
James wants to know if you like the Florida weather. I think we all know the answer to that.
But yeah, I was so impressed with this. I went ahead and made two of them.
Not one, but two. 2 mints in one.
And then I was showing.
Well, wait, there's more.
Yeah, I was showing. This is I guess everybody's heard of the Mandalorian. So I was trying to make me like a little Mandalorian bobblehead.
A bobblehead.
And this side of his head didn't turn out too well. It's kind of flat.
Yeah.
But I think his body turned out perfect. Yeah, his body turned out really well.
And that is with your new resin printer, correct, Russ?
Yes, this is resin printer.
Yeah, resin printing is
but
so much better.
Dixon thinks that I should have put a hole in his head. So I'm going to try him. I'm going to reconfigure him tonight in a lychee slicer and put a hole in his head to see if that will help. Because what happens is when you try to hollow these, or you can make them solid, that would be fine. You just use more fluid and everything. But was right about if you don't get the fluid out, it causes this kind of flattening on it. I've had it do it in one other project that I tried, and that's where I learned about the holes. But now the weird thing about this, and I showed it before, see that little tiny hole down in the bottom of his head? There's an interior head in this. Excuse me. This is like the helmet, but there's a head inside the helmet. There's actually a good 1/4 of an inch gap from the top of this helmet to the other part that's down inside. And that's the reason I put that little hole in there. And the bottom was to allow the fluid to drain out. There's the other hole, Dixon.
Yeah, you want 2 of them so you don't create
this is the hole for the outside of the helmet. So I don't know why it didn't work, but I'll do what you said and put a hole in the top of his head.
Yep, make sure the other hole is there too.
I just know you get that cerebral fluid that starts backing up. It'll melt your face right
pressure.
off, man.
Yep.
Gotta be careful with that.
Pressure filled. And
did Donald disappear on us?
maybe he's getting
he's
some know-how.
There he is.
There he is. Did you
There
get
he
a
is.
know-how?
But anyway, yeah, the resin
my
printer
internet
is,
died.
Indeed.
the resin printer is pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
a different species you have to learn than the regular. Now this one I did. This was done on my PLA printer. So
Mine was done on the scroll saw.
yeah, he did this on the scroll saw.
I'll
Imagine
tell you,
that.
man, I'll tell you though, after cutting these things out, I am like in love with that scroll saw again. You know, it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just like the
Welcome back
calming
from the
thing
dark
about-
side.
Yeah, it's not the dark side, man. It's just like it's
Hey,
just so
Jim.
relaxing to go through and do that. You
Hey,
know?
Jim, I know where you can get a free pattern every day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Really?
that's right. Paul,
and
why don't
access
you look?
access to probably over 5,000 patterns.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a
And
dozen,
can't you get
yeah.
them on a little
In fact,
thumb drive?
you can get them all on a CD or DVD. You can get them on a flash drive.
PDF.
Can you now?
Download them.
Yeah.
Isn't that the guy
I
named
know-
Ted? Ted
Yeah,
will sell it to you.
Yeah.
I know this
Ted
guy.
Goods Woodworking? Is that what it was?
16,000
Paul, how much I owe you for
patterns,
that?
Before I forget it, and it was been on my mind. We were talking about when different things earlier, and I'm sorry I hadn't got back with you, Steve. Just we've had so much going on around here. But how was your wife? I know she had the surgery, and
She's doing better. The surgery was pretty rough because of what they had to do. They had to go not only did the battery die, but the wire pulled out of the stimulator up in her neck. So they had to go back in there. And because there was so much scar tissue from the first surgery, he had to do some pretty serious digging to get the new one in. So she went about 4 weeks with not getting out of bed. It was pretty rough.
Wow.
But she's getting better. Getting better.
good.
The only thing
Good.
was then after the new one, they got it turned on. It stopped working after about 3 weeks, and we had to go back in. And luckily, it wasn't serious. But when it stopped working, she was in a deep panic because that was
Yeah,
bad.
I would be saying at that point, I ain't going back to surgery no more.
Yeah,
Now that
Yeah.
she's got like one of those stimulator
yeah.
things in place. So how do you recharge that? It's an
Well,
inductively
in
charged.
her case, it's an internal. The new one, the very new ones have rechargeable batteries, and you basically set on a key charger. You know,
Yeah,
is what you
sure.
do. But
Induction.
the old one that she has, it's an internal battery that's supposed to last 10 years, 7 to 10 years, and hers lasted 2 years. So what happened was, she was turning it up so high, you know, to
she
get the
burned it.
pain relief.
Yeah,
she
wore it
just
out.
burned it out.
Because
So-
the doctor was talking about doing that to me too, and I just didn't know how you recharge the battery. Because I've had 5 back surgeries,
Yeah.
and he's
Well,
like,
it was-
I
it
can't
was
really cut
definitely
into
worth-
anymore.
The stimulator has been worth, well, it was $112,000. So I don't know if I'm going to say it's worth what it costs.
I still
but
have
it was-
insurance.
Well, we do too, luckily. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to do it either, but it was worth it for her because it gave her mobility back. So definitely
Yeah,
was
God
worth it.
bless
He's-
her. Because
He said that about
back pain is the
recharging, and
worst.
it's not funny, but I could just see the conversation starter of, "Hang on, I got to go plug in my wife."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at my wife.
The funny thing is the batteries, they put it in your butt because that's where there's a lot of, room to put it. I hope my wife didn't hear that.
They'll have to,
Thanks for,
they'll have to
thanks
make a
for
I'll
letting
leave
me
that
know
one
that.
alone.
That's kind of
Now what? Now whoa. When you said in her butt, you mean in her buttocks, like
Yeah.
the muscle, Russ. Not
Well,
They'll
I
have
can
a-
see you going to try to change the batteries.
Again,
Yeah.
what goes on in that house?
Trust me.
you don't
Oh,
want
I'd be kicked out of that doctor's office for sure.
Stay still. This will
But
hurt
anyway,
you
thanks
more.
for
Donna,
asking.
just
Yeah.
real quick, Donna's Wood Art says that she has all of Steve's patterns on flash drives.
Ooh,
Donna's Wood Art. So
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Dang. She also said dang.
I just changed. I just added another product where now you can get it as a digital download, and that's turned out real popular too. I wish I'd. The reason I hadn't done that in the past is because my readers are generally our age or older, and I wasn't sure a lot of them would want to deal with the digital download. But what I'm finding is all those old guys are now starting to get to where we know how to do that stuff. I had a call from a guy the other day.
Right before they
wanted to-
die.
Yeah, he wanted to download some stuff, and he was doing all kinds of stuff he needed help with. And he said, "How old do you think I am?" I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "I'm 93. 93 years old." He knew how to decompress files. He knew where it actually went when he downloaded it. That's amazing.
I was 27
You know-
when I designed my first CNC, and I brought it to these auctions, RC airplane auctions of CNC. And when I left the first one, I was screwed because everybody looked at it. Oh, I want one. I want one. I want one. And guess what? They didn't even know how to turn a computer on
Yeah,
and stuff. And I thought,
exactly.
I'm done.
Yeah.
It ain't going to work.
I was
Well, you
30
see,
years old
now-
before I figured out what FTP was.
The oil or the
Motor oil,
uh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
What
The
that
file
and that's one of the
protocol.
I've had people ask me, why are you getting into all this like the 3D printing and the first off, I'm always been a geek. I
Yep.
mean, I've played around computers since day one. I worked for a computer company store, built and designed and servers and computers for 4 years. So I've always been a geek. But one of the things too, if you'll read about this, which I have Alzheimer's in our family and everything, is if you keep that mind going and you keep concentrating, you keep pushing the limits of what you can do with your mind, so to speak, the longer you do that, the better off you are in the far run. My ex-wife had a grandparents that their doctor told them, get a Nintendo 64, get a Nintendo system and play games. It'll keep your mind focused on, and your hand and eye coordination going, and it'll actually lessen the effects of Alzheimer's. It's been proven. So that's another reason I'm always pushing the limit with trying to do other stuff, is to keep that mind going,
This
I gotta tell my
computer
wife
is
that.
running your whole body.
Yep. That's a
Take care of
computer
that
up here.
first.
Yeah. You keep it on a hard task, keep it thinking, and it'll help in the long run.
Yep. It's worth staying busy. Just stay busy.
Yeah.
Eliminate TV from your life as much as possible.
Yep.
Says
Yeah.
the man that's got a mirror
The big screen TV behind
in
you.
the background.
Yeah, but those are basketball games. That's important.
I think I got your number, Steve. There is a big mirror in front of you.
That's a 220-inch TV.
Wow. Is
It's a
it
projector.
LCD or is
Yeah.
it DLP?
No, it's a
tell it,
projector.
It's a
yeah,
projector.
projector,
You
yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
Or you
Most
got a
people
very
call that a
flat
wall.
wall, or TV, I should say.
Yeah.
So would you do that? Would you turn your camera around and show us your wall?
What do you want to see?
Who
Behind
thinks
you.
you got a mirror?
Mirror in front of you, that big huge mirror.
He wants to know if you have a mirror so you can see
Think
the
you
TV
got a
in the
mirror up there
background.
and you're watching
No,
TV
no,
instead
no,
of
no,
paying
no.
attention to us.
For me, TV is more of an audio experience.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
listen to it a lot more than
Yeah.
I watch.
Background noise,
Yeah.
yep.
I'll
It's
sit
always
there and
background noise in this
watch
house.
stuff, and I'll just listen to it. And it's like maybe right there, but I'll be doing
Yeah.
whatever.
I have a 32-inch TV on my desk sitting up high, and it has the Amazon Fire on it. And the reason being is because the Amazon Fire Stick is connected to my, I call him Ziggy, but what is it? Alexia?
Alexa.
Alexa,
Is
yep.
connected to
Alexa.
Yeah, I have it hooked to the Alexia. So, like if my Ring doorbell or the Ring camera goes off in the front yard, I could just say, Ziggy, show me the Ring front porch, and boom, it'll come on the Fire Stick TV and on that 32-inch screen, and I can see the Ring camera right there at my desk.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Yeah, so that's the reason I did that. But that makes it really nice. I mean,
Wow.
if it goes off, I can just tell it immediately, and within a second or two, it's popped up on the screen, so I can see what's going on up there. Because sometimes it's
the
just
TV's always on. Matter of fact, I came in from the shop today and the TV in the living room was off. I thought something was wrong. Turns out my wife was out by the pool reading. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense then. Okay.
Al, didn't you have something you wanted to show one of those that you'd been printing?
Sure. Of course, I have been doing some Spyros, and I did a Spyro, and what I did is I lost it. Is I took the wings. Into the wings now. But
Flew
anyway,
away. You left the
I
wings on.
actually took the wings, and there's little holes right there, and put the wings in there. Well, that blows my mind. But anyway, I did that, and also for Frenzy. See, I had originally sent one to Frenzy with the wings and stuff, and I sent one to Jimbo here just a little while ago. Well, yesterday. Frenzy wanted Sparks,
That's cool.
which is the little friend that as Spyro is hopping and stuff, Sparks is kind of following around, helping him. I threw, what was it? I threw some pieces on there. Oh yeah, I had these rims that I'm working on an RC car chassis, and I've got the pieces. There's a bag somewhere with a bunch of pieces to where I'm gonna print, and I'm gonna try, I should say, to actually print the tires with flexible resin or filament. I'm not certain yet. The resin's actually very expensive, and also too, I started working. It never ends.
Al, while you're getting that, I'm sorry I'm laughing, but we've got the Midwest Rep Rap show here close to my house, and they had a fully 3D printed race car race.
Yeah.
On a polished cement floor, right? So these cars were like trying, and then when these guys would hit they wouldn't fall apart. They'd hit the curves, and they were going on 3D printed tires, and they would just like slide right off the end of the track.
I don't doubt it.
Crash right on the side.
I don't want to spend $50 for resin that isn't flexible. And although this is to scale, I think this is 1/10 or 1:10 scale.
Let's say 1:10.
I'd like to try it, but it's the way it goes, I guess.
Well, if you're gonna race it on concrete, make rubber tires for it. I'm just saying. Okay.
Oh, instead of 3D printed.
Instead of plastic tires, yeah, because they'll just slide right off all over the place.
I also found the what is it called? I want to call them wasps, but they're not wasps. But anyway, from Space 1999, this is resin printer, and man,
it's
I really
the Eagle.
love the way it came out. These are some of the pieces, from, I don't know if you know what the ship itself looks like, but the piece de résistance. Russ, can you give me full again, please?
Full them up, Russ.
The piece of resistance is I got me forgot how this looks, but some horns for a cosplay. Yeah, here we go. You can see it there. For cosplay. My sister's also getting the 3D printing and stuff, and she wanted some gentian, I believe, and found these horns. So I thought I'd go ahead and print them. And now, honestly, this is I don't know. I could probably use different filament. PET G probably is what I need to do. I've got some PET G, but this was just printed on the regular filament printer. But these pieces here were printed on the resin, and of course they snap in and stuff. But it's me. It's me.
You almost look like Mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too.
Well, a baby Mercury anyway.
Anyway, I have bunches of other stuff that I'm working on, but that's kind of what's been laying around lately.
So,
Al, by the
what
way,
are you going
it's the Eagle.
dressed as?
The eagle.
I know.
I wouldn't call it a wasp. But to me, it looks like a wasp. It's the eagle.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, this was just on my shelf, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that is from what's it called?
Space 1999.
Space 1999.
Yeah, Space 1999. I love that show. I watched every season of it.
Martin
Yeah, it
Landau.
was pretty good. It got kind of goofy in the last year, but all sci-fi shows do.
Oh, they changed the people that were different parts. They changed them and stuff. And
Yeah. I think what
Can
was
you
unique
watch that
about
somewhere? Can you
That
watch
ship
that somewhere
was
right
that-
now?
I don't know.
I think
I
what was
imagine if you
unique
did a
about that
search-
ship was it was totally different from anything else you had seen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When they come out with
Yeah.
it.
But the other thing I was working on, you guys remember woodworking, right? Just making sure.
Oh, woodworking.
Oh.
What's that?
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
Prime
that's
old
Video.
toy I came up with.
That's cool.
So,
Prime Video has
I got
been
things-
since 1999.
I'm not happy with the tail. I got to do a different design. I make it more of a wooden hinge. I thought the screw eyes would work, but it just flops. It's not good.
Yeah.
But the rest of it came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with
Hey,
it.
Chris, what's that? Woodworking?
Yeah, it's a new fashion, new
Cool.
fad. It's going to be all the rage.
You
In
know
about
what
20
would be
years.
really cool if you could come up with something that went from the wheels to the back and cause that thing to move left and right.
You can do that if you put offset both the wheels, so it rocks when you pull it. See, the tail will do that.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what you ought to do.
I might do that in the next one. I'm just trying to come up with different ideas. My trays have sold pretty good locally, but I got to get some more stuff selling. So
Cool.
I like it. I'm
I
happy
like
with
it. I love your painting. It's just like it's fantastic.
Thanks. Just craft paint off the shelf.
I know, but I mean, you hand paint those yourself.
Yep.
See, that's awesome. I'm not that good. I mean, what I do is I put a pattern on there and trace it off, and then I come back and paint the pattern in because I'm not good enough to do it freehand.
Sometimes I just take the wood and rough out the style I want, the pattern myself right on the wood, and just cut directly. So
yeah, I've just always had a problem with that. I can draw excellent stuff for scroll saw as far as on Corel Draw, but as far as me drawing stuff by hand, it sucks.
I've tried spray tacking my pattern from paper right on the wood, but then the blade is all gummed up later on. So I like to squeeze every last inch of life out of my blades. So it's just easy to draw right on the wood. Just draw the pattern out. So I got another idea. The fish was going to be hinged in the middle, a wooden hinge, in shape of a fish on four wheels. So, and a couple other ideas I came up with doing a little research between the web, a bunch of old books. I found out if you do like old wooden toy searches and you find ancient toys, that'd be great now for kids to play with, pull toys for toddlers.
Yes.
So, and some of them are just very easy designs to do. So.
Yeah, you're right. And there's still a lot of books out there that are still very cheap with old wooden toys in them. I looked a while
this
back.
This idea started out of a book idea. I was just some old books I had, and that's where the idea started. So
I mean, they're like $9.95. I was seeing one the other day, like 30 or 40 wooden toy patterns for like $9.95 on Amazon.
Wow.
So yeah, they're very, very, very cheap. So
that one
and the
toy
thing about it
is the stick, and you'd rub another stick on it, and it had the teeth, and it would make the propeller spin. You remember that one?
Yes.
That's a perfect one to give to your grandkids because it will drive your children mad. You get payback big time.
Yeah, besides the drum set, I heard that works well too.
Yeah. I guess Donald is having a lot of problems with his internet. He keeps going in and out. So
I blame the Russians.
Yep.
Jerry Brown says he's got a good show. Thanks everybody. So thank you, Jerry, for being out there. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about they've been doing?
Yeah, I got a lot of dirt on my workbench.
Do you? Is it
Clean it up, Paul. Clean it up.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
A clean shop is a sign of a sick mind.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, another thing is too, Steve, one of the reasons I went with the digital wood carver is not only Laney and the customer service and everything but I bought this, or I built this really nice plexiglass case for my other CNC. Okay. I mean, really nice plexiglass case, plexiglass door, sides, top. And in the back, it has a 12-inch air conditioning pipe hose that goes over to a 35, I think it's 35,000 or whatever. Anyway, it came out of a 2.5-ton air conditioner squirrel cage.
Oh,
yeah.
It would have sucked all the air out of the room.
I do.
I
It
know.
literally, if when you have to push the door hard to open it, there's so much suction in the room.
Yeah.
But let me put it to you this way: there's not a lot of dust in that case.
Yep.
So anyway, so one of the reasons too is I wanted to find a CNC that would fit inside that case. So I mean, I found a few others, but everything was hands down. That one fit. The customer service in Laney and everything was hands down.
What size is it?
I got the 24. Well, it's a footprint is like 32 by 32, but the actual cutting is 24 by 18.
That's big enough for what I do.
Yeah, it's the other one would have done something like 24 by 30. I think it was 32, not 36. But anyway, my point is I found that I was never doing anything that big. The biggest signs I were making were like 16 by 18, or it was. So I decided to go with a little one. Because here's the thing, I get the little one, I like it. If I start getting into things where I need a bigger one, I can give up the glass case and get a bigger one if I need to. But I didn't need anything that big.
You built a plexiglass case that big, you spent some bucks. Plexiglass is expensive right now.
No, it ain't. This was built 2 years ago, so it was cheap. Okay. Yeah, it was cheap. Yeah, it was. I don't think I had. In the whole thing, plexiglass, I think each sheet that I bought was 1/8 inch, 24 by 36 or something like that. Maybe it was a little bit bigger than that. Anyway, I think I only spent like 20 something. Let's put it this way. I think I only had $100, maybe $125 in plexiglass.
Yeah, that's because that sheet that I bought back there for that case I built the other day for that CNC machine, just the cover is all it's plexiglass, and I think it's 36 by 32 or something like that, and it was like $80.
Yeah,
wow. $80.
You can still buy 2x4s in this town for $7.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I would have peed on myself. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I built mine. When I built mine,
$80.
It was a lot cheaper. Y'all, I've done shows in front of my CNC before where you could see inside of it. But I will tell you this much, because it's a router-based CNC, that case deadens a lot of noise.
Yeah, all the noise and the vibration.
Yeah.
So are you going to give us a tour, Russ? Are you going to actually give us a tour of the new CNC? It could be a whole show, maybe.
Yeah, I'll get some video of it because I'm not in the shop. This is all inside the house in the green screen room again. I'll take some video of it and show it. But I built the whole stand. It's got drawers that say Simply Wooden Creations on them. It's got a place for wood underneath. I built the whole thing. Then, like I said, the top and the front, the top, and both sides are all plexiglass. The back is solid for the vent tube. I have to go in there about every 4 or 5 or 6 projects with a vacuum cleaner and clean out the corners because if the dust goes to some of the back corners, it doesn't come out through. But I would say 80+% of all the dust that comes off that CNC goes out that. And I just vent it out the side of the shop.
I've been ordering Lexan down at work. It's $289 a sheet.
Woo!
4x8 sheet, $289.
How thick?
That's only 1/4 inch.
1/4 inch stuff?
1/4 inch.
Yeah.
So you're just making shields out of it?
Guarding and stuff. But
Guards
you
for
gotta
maintenance
understand,
stuff?
we get a pallet at a time, a pallet full. So
Man.
yeah.
289 is sheet.
I didn't need 1/4. I only needed 1/8 inch because it's
Lexan doesn't
use
break.
2x4s to make the corners up and just screwed the plexiglass to the wood corner. So I only need 1/8 inch. I didn't need anything that thick. But,
you want to pay big bucks, you buy a pallet of that, and then you buy a pallet full of 80/20, and you're talking some major money.
That's another product that's going
You're
on.
into the thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
Yep. For guarding.
Yeah, the guys at our panel shop always complain about 80/20 going up too.
Oh,
And
big
Baltic
time.
Birch plywood's getting hard to come by too.
Yes.
And it's probably going to get worse with what's
Yep.
going on over there right now.
You know, it's
I've
weird
got to
because
call my
it's
supplier
weird because I get
tomorrow.
on the Social Security website and I pull the thing out because I'm a couple of years away from retirement, 2 or 3 years. And I look and I'm like, yeah, I get more for retirement now, but man, everything's costing so much more.
Yeah. It ain't gonna be nothing.
It's not even worth it. By the time I
No.
turn 67, it's gonna be like, so
Yeah.
what, you know?
Yeah.
God.
I've got to call my supplier Monday of Baltic birch and ask them if they got any more eighth and quarter. If they do, I'm going to go pick up probably 2 sheets of eighth and 2 sheets of 1/4 inch Monday. But now these are full 4x8 sheets.
Right.
Hey, Russ, who was that place that you get their 1/8 and 1/4 inch stuff from?
As far as what?
The Baltic
Hardwood?
birch plywood, the stuff that you told us before, but I can't remember. Now that I've got that laser, I'd want to.
I found the best deals on Etsy.
Really? I
Etsy's
thought there
good.
was a
Or eBay.
place you bought your stuff from that was like.
Well, I do, but locally, I buy it from my wood shop that's locally, but I buy full sheets and cut it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
There used to be a place where you could buy it online, but they retired.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
talking about
Oh, Cooch has good deals too.
So was that Sloan's?
Sloan's. Yeah,
Sloan's
you're
as well.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about Sloan's, Jim. Yeah, the guy they retired. They're no longer in business.
Yeah.
But if you
Yes,
go to
I have
real good prices.
Cooch Hardwoods, they have decent prices. Their shipping.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also another thing that they have that a lot of people don't have. They have a lot of hardwoods that are a 1/4 inch
Yeah.
thick, ready for scroll saw. So yeah, that's the best place. I've told a lot of people about that. But
And
yeah,
they're
you're talking
fast,
about Sloan's. I used to buy all my Baltic birch and clock parts and stuff from Sloan's
Yeah.
all the time. I used to love to call and talk to them, but they went. I don't even. From my understanding, that one of the reasons they retired was because of his health. So I don't even know if they're what's still going on. But then I found out it's called Hardwood Lumber and Millwork here in South Lakeland. It's only about 35 minutes from my house. And I went in there a few times, and lo and behold, I look in the back corner and there's a plywood rack, and I walk up and it's Baltic birch plywood. They have 3/4, half, 3/4, 5/8, half, 3/8, 1/4, and 1/8 inch. And they usually keep it in stock. And that's why I say with this crunch coming up, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of sheets of each and go ahead and bring it home and cut it up. I start off with cutting it into 4x4 sheets just because it's easier to put in the shop. And then I cut it down from there for whatever I want.
Yep.
But if I buy 4 sheets, 2 sheets of each, that'll last me for a couple of years.
Yeah,
I
I
go
normally
through
will
a
cut my,
4x8 sheet
my
about
wood
every week.
24 by 24 to slide it into the CNC and have a couple of feet of stuff.
Yeah. What'd you say, Steve?
I said I go through about a 4x8 sheet every week to 2 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is.
And it's a lot as far as money goes too. When I was in Lexington before I moved here, I had a lumber yard there that sold it, and I could get a 4x8 sheet at 1/8 inch for about $22, which was a steal. But I can't find anybody here that's even close to that.
I just wish I could go out in the garage and not freeze to death and use that much in a week. Because I'll tell you, man, I cut these 2 guys out today, and I couldn't even move my fingers anymore. I had to come in the house, and I was only out. It was so cold in that garage, man.
Yeah,
I'm surprised the grease in the scroll saw let the thing go up and down.
I can understand, Jim, but I don't miss it at all.
And I'm totally with you, Chris.
Come on down.
I'm happy for you, and I wish I could.
But
Your
you
shop
guys were
belongs
like
in the basement.
87, right? 87 today.
87 was what I saw at one point today, but it averaged about 82.
You know, who needs that? This is winter. Give me 50.
Honestly, we didn't have a
50s
winter
I
this
can
year.
handle, man.
I said we did
for
not
2
have a
weeks.
winter. You're not listening. We did not have a winter this year. I think we got 2 days that it got down into the low 30s, 2 days, and that was it.
At
Yeah,
night.
27
Snow
degrees.
yesterday.
Hey, Russ.
We had snow yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I had to run one day when I went out and I was trying to do some stuff in the shop. And I went out there that morning. It was like 47 in my shop. So I have a little propane heater. I fired off and warmed the shop. I was doing some 3D printing. And I warmed the shop up to like 60 degrees and then shut it off so that run the 3D printer. So
That is cold, Al, for Texas.
It is. It is.
what is
And
temperature
I'm
in the
trying to show
down?
you-
39.
Wow.
down here.
Now, Steve, you've moved, so you're further. Where you at now in Indiana?
We're in Indiana. We're a little farther north, but we've actually had better winter here than they had in Lexington. They
Where
had
in
wow.
Indiana are you?
Southern Indiana.
Okay, I'm up in the northwest corner. I live in Maryville.
Oh,
Still
okay.
cold
I
there.
know where
I'm
that is.
just south of Chicago and Gary,
Yep.
and yeah.
I used to live up in, well, I've lived all
East
over the
side
state,
of
but I lived in
Chicago.
Fort Wayne and South Bend. Not
Okay,
too far.
yeah.
72 right now.
I love you,
72.
Chris.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 76 on Thursday, guys.
I thought
Steve-
about doing the show in the shop, but the mosquitoes were winning.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, there is a place, if you want to
Nice.
get hardwood and stuff like that, there's a place up in Terre Haute that's got he's got his own sawmill and everything. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll email it to you when I think
Okay.
of it. But man, if you want to make the trip up from, I don't know if you're by Evansville or whatever, but if
No,
you want to
I'm
make the trip up
by
there and
Louisville.
yeah, I mean, he's got everything. He's got
Huh.
hardwoods. He's got stuff that he saws up himself. So he's got a lot of walnut, maple, the stuff that's indigenous to Indiana.
Right.
And yeah, I think you'd really enjoy taking a trip up there to look at it. So I'll email you his
Yeah, you know,
website. Yeah, I will.
I'm always looking for new places to, and now that we're back kind of traveling again a little bit, it's kind of nice. Just,
Yeah.
I don't even care where I'm going. I just want to go someplace.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah. His prices are really good too. They sell everything on, they sell a lot of stuff on eBay. So I'll
Jim
send it over to you.
Dockrell said they had lots of days that were minus 22 degrees this year.
I feel so bad for him. Man.
I'm
I
like,
remember
yeah,
those days.
You talk to those guys and they're driving down the road with flat spots on their tires because their tires are froze. And, you know,
Yeah.
I can't even comprehend that.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Appreciate everybody being out there in the chat. Lots of you have been out there. Jim Dockrell, Brian Warner, Chris Nealon, James Parker, Donna's Wood Art.
Had a lot of people tonight.
Yeah, I had a lot of people. Jeff Robinson's been out there. I
I think
appreciate
saw
you watching
35
Jeff
at one
Robinson.
point.
Huh?
I think I saw 35 on the YouTube feed at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah, there was people on Facebook and on Twitch.
See?
But yeah, I appreciate you all being out there.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Listen, thank you, Dixon and Chris and Al and Paul and Jim, and thank you for being on, Steve. Anytime you want to come, just let us know.
Appreciate
Always
you.
a pleasure.
We're always here on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
It has become a tradition. Tomorrow we're going to go to church in the morning, and then we got to cut loose and go to Bradenton, Florida, for my wife's niece's wedding. She's getting married tomorrow, so we'll be down in Bradenton, Florida. We're probably going to rent a motel and just stay the night because the time the party, the reception or whatever afterwards, I'm not going to feel like driving home, so.
Gotta love a wedding.
Yep. So we are planning on doing that. So, but anyway, thank you everybody for being out there in the chat. Very good discussion tonight. Listen, if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust, you're just too darn busy. Get off your butts. Get out there. Just give me sawdust. Lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
Live long and prosper, everyone. Hey, Chris, don't you have something to say?
Yes, I do. Remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.